Pre-order the Clownfish TV comic book right now on Indiegogo. Go to clownfishtvcomic.com. That's clownfishtvcomic.com. This is a fun collection of all new comic strips based on dumb stuff we've said on the show. Again, that's clownfishtvcomic.com. You're gonna have to hurry. We're only taking pre-orders for a limited time. Now we're gonna get back into the show. Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And what are we gonna do? There's not gonna be any SNL for a while.
I don't watch SNL anyway, so
Does anybody watch SNL?
Apparently some people do. I mean, it hasn't been funny in years.
So we're gonna talk about how all the late shows are going dark now. Late night TV going dark. I guess James Corden noped out at a good time.
I think they're missing an eye in the pens.
Penis down. We all want our penises up. We want penises up. Penises skyward. Can I say that? Anyway, we're going to talk about this. Geeky did not get to talk about the writer's strike yesterday. She was out. So we're going to talk about this. And again, you know, I did the video yesterday saying I personally did not think this is going to go the way that they think it's going to go. I think they honestly thought it was going to be a slam dunk, but I've got more.
I can't wrap my hand around why.
I've got more anecdotes that they are prepared for this. That David Zaslav has said that they have lots of content ready to go, and Netflix went ahead and preemptively filmed some seasons of shows ahead of time because they thought they were going to pull this. So they've got content ready to go. In fact, Sweet Tooth, they were talking about like, hey, Sweet Tooth is renewed for a third season. No, they're like, no, we filmed it when we filmed season 2 because we thought the writer's strike was going to happen.
Yeah, Stranger Things is already filmed.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah, so it's like they already have the stuff they want. They knew this was going to happen. They probably have movie scripts locked down or whatever. They'll just have a robot do it. They'll have a robot make some edits or something. AI. So we're going to talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants, guys. You get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Woohoo. So yeah, Adam Conover, Adam
ruins everything.
Who's ruining everything, has somehow become the face of this writer's strike. And if this writer's strike is a colossal failure, which it might be because, again, we're not living in 2007, then he is going to be the face of that failure, and he's going to be blamed for ruining the writer's strike.
Look, I agree with the fact that, you know, if they're not being paid that much, you know, pay them a little more. But here's the issue, and we've said this many, many times. The issue is, like 2007, 2008, you had like one amount of writers. And since then, because of streaming and because of other things, the amount of writers has exploded in the amount you've needed because everybody and their brother wanted a streaming service with new shows.
Right.
So you have way too many writers. And now that we've learned that the industry has to like contract because there's not enough people out there wanting to pay for these shows, and a lot of the shows are dog shit,
right?
And are activism disguised as entertainment, and they're not doing well. So now that it's contracting, you know, there's not enough room in that asshole for all you people.
Yeah, you can only fit so many dicks in the writer's room at once.
I know. I'm just saying. You went from one amount of people to like 3 or 4 times.
Penis is up.
To 3 or 4 amounts of times of people. And we're going back to probably about maybe what we had in 2007, maybe doubled. And so you need about half as many people as you have. And they want to be like, unlike other industries where that sucks, you know, unfortunately, the industry is, you know, not doing well. The demand's not there. We have to get rid of people and go do something else. No. You're supposed to hire them all and pay them higher rates all to go sit in the writing rooms and just sit there. Even though you might need 2 writers, you need to hire 10 because we need to keep everybody employed.
Yeah, so this is kind of insulting because look, every other creative industry outside of Hollywood, okay, for the most part, it is a quote unquote gig economy.
It is so many places.
Every other, like, ask comic book creators how that goes for them. There's no job security, you know, right? You work as a novelist, there's no job security. You work as a fine artist, there's no job security.
No.
You're only as good as your last work. You're
And a lot
only,
of times,
you know.
even if you're hired on Broadway or something like that, you're hired for that show. You're
that
hired
gig,
for that run. You have contracts. It might only last a year. That's just the way it is. And you know, they want these contracts to be extended that they're basically full-time employees with full benefits and retirement and everything else. And that's not necessarily how this works.
Go work at the factory, but that's a lot of these people think it's beneath them. But the reality is the price. Well, here's the thing. I'm actually privy to the pay rates that these unionized writers get, and they're not exactly starving. Now, they are trying to pull a fast one in that they're trying to get interns to do more of the work, and they'll get.
Oh, so they're trying to Disneyfy it.
They're trying to Disneyfy it. Yeah, Disney's been doing that with their college program for years. I don't agree with that. However, if you're a union writer, I'm looking at the rates, and these people are making pretty good money. I mean, already. Now, is that does that correlate with how much the studios are making? Probably not always. But the thing is they're looking at record profits overall. You got to realize the show you worked on might not have brought any of those profits.
But it's not record profits. They're declining profits, which is why they're canceling shows, consolidating streaming services, laying people off like crazy. The profits aren't there like they used to be. Now I can see that if you have a really successful show, then the writers on that show should get some kind of bonus or something like that. So they're making money. You know, people should make money commensurate with how many people watch the show.
That is normally how things worked historically. I mean, same with novelists. You sell a bunch of books, you're going to get higher royalties.
Right.
You're
So, I mean,
more money,
if you're working on a show that like is kicking ass,
then
you should probably get more money and get bonuses based your base pay. Celebrities do it. That's why Scarlett Johansson was suing Disney.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. I mean, I'm sure. Look, and I'm not trying to be a dick here, right? If you can make more money and you can talk these guys and give you more money, fantastic. I'm just telling you, the reality of the situation right now is that streaming services, especially, are in a pinch. You don't ask your boss for a raise when you know the company is laying off.
Right.
I mean, that's just, you just put a target on yourself.
The raise is only one part of it. Like, I can see asking for more money, if your show does really well. I will agree with you on that. The problem is, it's not just that. The problem is the other demands are so fucking ridiculous. It is ridiculous. Like, hey, you only need 3 writers, but you need to hire 10 because we need to make sure 7 people are employed, and you have to pay them the same high rate. And I know they might have worked these other shows that did shit, and too many cooks in the kitchen is a bad thing, but you have to hire them all so we all have jobs and security.
Yeah, and that's not realistic. What is going to happen is either, there are going to be fewer shows with, what I'm saying, we have a writer's room of 20 people, and you might have 20 people working on one show versus 5 shows where you could split that up,
Well, they're also mad about that, aren't they? That the seasons now go by like Netflix seasons, so there's not as many shows in the season. And
because the cost of production has gone through the roof, in part, I mean, I'm not trying to be a dick, but in part because of unions, because they have to pay X number of dollars to produce anything anymore. Mm-hmm. So everything has gotten significantly more expensive. And what's going to happen is they're gonna use non-union labor. They're going to outsource. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. But they're going to find foreign content. But this is what's frustrating about it. Like, I get you're looking for more money, but it's like they're trying to take away our gerbs and employ us one day a week like we're Uber drivers.
That's not how gig jobs work. We're employees one day a week. What? Because
some of they might have somebody come in and just do a thing on a script or whatever. But this is like.
Well, do better so you get hired for one of the bigger jobs.
I'm just looking at, look, we report on this stuff all the time, and all indication is that these companies are up shit creek. Now, I'm not talking Schitt's Creek, which was a popular streaming show. I'm talking they're up shit creek right now because they overspent on content that did not perform. And now
you hired a bunch of writers who weren't good.
And now you're asking for more money, and they keep going back to like the golden age of television. Like, well, back in the 80s when people were working on the Cosby Show. I'm like, well, yeah, that's a completely different scenario than where we're at right now.
Right. Back in the 80s where there was only a handful of shows and there was way fewer writers, and they were on shows for long periods of time because you knew the shows were going to be around for like 20 some episode seasons. That's different than now. And you kind of did it to yourself because y'all wanted to go in there and use it as your activism platform, and you wanted to preach, not entertain. And then when these things didn't do well, and the studio's like, shit, we got to pivot back to things that are entertaining, and we got to, quality over quantity now. So the other way around. There's a joke Netflix will greenlight anything.
Yes.
They can't take all of you with them. I'm sorry. It's just not feasible.
So this is, again, this is Netflix, because Netflix seems to be at the heart of this, because we're talking streaming, and obviously they're the biggest streamer out there. But they said that, yeah, they said having season 3 of Sweet Tooth already filmed, it helped them save with cost, but they also had content ready to go should the strike go on for months. So I think they knew this was coming, and they already said, hey, we're buying a bunch of Korean shows, and we have some other stuff that's not dependent, and we've got stuff in the pipeline that's already done. Bring it. You bring it. You tell, and look, they had to have seen this, and I think Netflix has done a complete 180, because they saw all this backlash over Dave Chappelle, and it was a tempest in a teapot, and they're like, you guys go ahead and do it, but we're literally canceling shows, firing people, and now you want more money.
Well, I noticed too, like when I'm doing articles on movies or some of these shows on Disney Plus or Marvel or whatever, that a lot of times the director is now working as a screenwriter as well, with maybe one other person, and they're writing it themselves now. If they're already moving on, so many projects are already in different stages of production that the writers will quit tomorrow. They can still put these shows out.
Yeah, that's just it. And they learned. These studios learned from the 2007 strike. Like, you always have a backup. You always have a backup for your backup. But they said, this is coming from CNBC. They said there's overwhelming support among Hollywood writers to strike for more money, but their timing is far from ideal. Again, when your boss is telling you times are tough, you do not ask for a raise. Any moron could tell you that.
The raise isn't the main part. I mean, I think most people would agree that you guys are getting the same pay rate for a while now. You probably should get a raise. That's not the issue. Like, I agree that you probably should get paid more. The issue isn't that. The issue is some of your other demands, which are ridiculous. That's the issue.
Yeah, the company is generating more cash as subscriber growth slows by cutting content costs. They're not going to hire.
Cutting shows.
They're cutting shows. They before all of this, they were getting rid of a bunch of like garbage tier activist run shows, anti-racist baby and stuff like that. Nobody's going to watch a show. Meghan Markle's stupid cartoon. Nobody's going to watch it other than to point and laugh. Actually, channels like ours are probably going to watch it just to point and laugh, right?
I didn't have an opinion on one or another.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, YouTubers are going to get more mileage out of it than they're going to get out of it, and they're probably going to make more money off of it than Netflix is going to make off of it. And you're going to be like, hey, every show you do from now until the end of time, Netflix, you have to promise us that you're going to have 20 people in the writer's room to churn out more garbage.
That's where it gets me. It's like some of the other
pay
demands.
us all top
yes,
rate.
and keep us employed even when we're not working. I mean, some of the demands are just absolutely ridiculous. You had me. I'll agree with you about getting a pay increase because it's been a while. I'll agree with you on that one. But some of the other demands are just so effing ridiculous. And again, you have way more people now than you did at the last one. Way more people, way more people. So, and you don't need them. Any other company. Oh, we sell widgets. Okay. We have 5 factories that sell widgets. Cool. The market has now, shrunk, and people don't want widgets. They want Weejits. And so because of that, we're going to have to close 3 factories. We'll still keep 2 open to keep making for those who want them, but then we're moving our stuff to the other stuff, people who want those. And then all those people at those factories are like, well, you have to keep those 2 factories open and hire all of us too to sit there and do nothing.
Yeah, and twiddle our thumbs and waste your money. I mean, what this is. I think what blows my mind about this, and just in general with a lot of creative types, and look, I worked as a creative. I know the deal, right? But they're so out of touch with what everybody else in every other industry.
Oh yeah, a lot of these people are. These tech people and these Hollywood people are just so far out there. It's ridiculous.
They honestly think they are the most essential workers when the reality is, and we talked about before, Hollywood could stop producing brand new content tomorrow, and there are multiple lifetimes of content that you have never seen.
And there are a lot of people who aren't part of Hollywood creating content that people just turn to. Those go whoever is giving it to them.
Yeah, and again, this is CNBC. They're part of Universal, NBC Universal, and they're like, hey, this is bad news for writers who want to get paid more. The incentive for big studios to capitulate on pay may not be the same as it was during the pandemic, because they made a lot more money during the pandemic. Everybody was stuck in their houses, and now they're just like, okay, well, bye, Felicia. You come back to us when you've got a more reasonable take on this, and maybe we'll talk. But again, with Netflix especially, 95% of the shows they produce don't produce results. So why are they going to hire 20 writers to work on a garbage show that's going to get 1 season and boom,
and when
it's
you get
off.
too many writers in there, it ends up like nothing gets done.
And
it's fights.
And nothing is consistent. I mean, you can tell shows that don't have it like a unified voice, like a showrunner that's actually in charge of the whole thing, because like episodes will contradict each other.
Yeah.
I used to get so pissed off when I noticed this shit when I was a kid. Transformers.
Okay.
There are conflicting origin stories for the Constructicons. They literally had, it still pisses me off to this day because it's a very easy thing to catch. They literally had a season 1 episode where Megatron built the Constructicons. Season 2, different writer comes in. The Constructicons were friends with Omega Supreme on Cybertron. But they were built on Earth. Like, that is a very easy thing to catch. You had too many writers working on the dumb robot cartoon show.
That's just that. I mean, now it's worse. And then, like I said, you have all these people who just, think that they are the best thing ever, even though they aren't, coming into a show, and you're trying to get all these people, like double the amount of writers working together.
So let's get the late night TV. So
Who cares?
Nobody watches late night TV.
People do, but we're not among them.
They just leave it on in the background, right? It comes on after the news, and you just kind of let the TV on as you fall asleep. Late night TV shows go dark as writers strike for better pay. So this is what's going down, right? All the top late night shows, which are staffed by writers that pen monologues and jokes for their hosts.
Well, the hosts could actually be funny on their own.
They could do it themselves, yeah. Immediately went dark. NBC's The Tonight Show, Comedy Central's Daily Show, ABC's Jimmy Kimmel Live, CBS's The Late Show, and NBC's Late Night all made plans for reruns through the week. NBC's SNL, which had been scheduled to air a new episode Saturday, will also go dark. You know who's not going dark? Fox News. One late night show that won't go dark. Fox News' Gutfeld will continue airing new episodes because it's Fox News and they probably don't like unions very much.
I don't know. I'm just like...
YouTube won't go dark.
YouTube won't, for now.
For now.
But there's everyone, including myself, hopes both sides can reach a deal, but I also think the writers' demands are not unreasonable, said Stephen Colbert. I think the writers' demands are not unreasonable for some of them. I think other demands are fucking ridiculous.
I think it needs to see. This is the
Maybe
problem.
Meet in the middle.
This is the problem with unions. Unions can be great if your company is abusing you and you're all working for the same company or whatever, or the entire industry is actually abusing you. In this case, with entertainment, I think it needs to be on a case-by-case basis depending on what you bring to the table. If Colbert needs his writers to be funny because he can't think of his own jokes, and it's debatable whether or not he's funny even with the writers, and you're bringing value and ad dollars to the network, then yeah. But if you're working on, again, something like Anti-Racist Baby for Netflix that nobody's going to watch,
right? Well, then they're talking about, too, they're saying about, one thing I do agree with them, too, is about the streaming residuals, because there has been a conflict with that, because everything was based on the old system of syndication and things.
Yeah.
And we've seen this happen with Disney, too, with the streaming, because when it was just Netflix, they had their own thing set up, but all these other places set up, that the people aren't getting paid, like, in the way that if it keeps being run, the actors weren't, and the writers and different people weren't getting paid the way they should have been paid. I know with Bill Nye, he had to take Disney to court because they were going to sell. They were putting his content on their streaming service, but they weren't paying him for it because they were acting as if it was like DVDs. And I think Disney won because they always do.
Yes.
And in that case, there was a big problem. So there is, I do give them that. There is a bit of an argument to be made for the way they're handling what used to be handled with syndication, because now it's different with streaming, and they need to get that straightened out. I do agree with them. That's why Scarlett Johansson got pissed. She was supposed to get all this money from, being theatrical, but then she was on streaming, and they created an issue that was a gray area that wasn't hashed out the way it should have been. And I think that they do have some grounds for wanting that clarified, I believe.
Yeah. This is coming from Justine Bateman. Mallory from Family Ties. So just, Mallory. Understand that our fight is the same fight that's coming to your professional sector next.
It's been, Mallory!
It's the valuing of human effort, skill, and talent in favor of automation and profit.
Where the fuck have you been, Justine? Seriously, where have you been? This has been going on for years. How many people get laid off, or their colleague gets laid off, and now they have to do their work, the colleague's work, and they get paid the same amount of money, or sometimes less, and then be told you're lucky to have a job.
Okay.
Welcome to reality, Mallory.
So anyway,
for fuck's sake, pull your head out of your ass, Mallory.
That is a very Mallory line, right? So I'm grappling with this. I'm struggling with this because I'm like, blue collar workers have been
some white collar work. Everybody has to deal with this shit.
they've been dealing with this for decades. Automation has been taking jobs for decades.
It's going to come for you next. It already did, Mallory. You're just late to the party.
Exactly. That's exactly
No one invited you. That's why.
It came for the blue collar workers first, and then a lot of white collar workers. A lot of I remember I was there doing web development when a lot of our jobs were being sent overseas to much cheaper.
Remember the recessions and job losses?
Yes. And now the tech sector is blowing up. So the white collar jobs, coders, all that, a lot of this stuff is going to be automated with AI. But now that it's hitting Hollywood, now it matters. Now it matters because
it's going to come for you next. It already came for everybody else, Mallory.
You are literally the most protected class of worker in the country. Seriously. Like Hollywood is like the most protected class. Absolutely.
I can't.
You know, everybody else has been dealing with this bullshit.
It's happened to us multiple times.
It already happened
personally.
To us. You're last. You're last. Hollywood is last to deal with this.
Hollywood, why do people have no sympathy for you? Why are they not turning into your award shows where you kiss each other's ass and dress in fancy clothes? Why are they like the Met Gala? Who fucking cares? You know, they're more interested in the cockroach than you. There is a reason.
They are more interested in the cockroach than they were in the celebrities. So they said with the walkout long expected, writers have rushed to get scripts in and studios have sought to prepare their pipelines to keep churning out content for at least the short term. The loss to local economies can be considerable. LA is estimated to have lost $2 billion.
What about, are they worried about those people? All the people that are locally that, you know, support that do things that aren't the writers or the actors or whatever. They're like the people that, you know, cater or do other things, other jobs.
What about the damn Uber drivers? You don't want to be poor like them.
Yeah, right. Where you can't better pay for Uber drivers.
You better pay for the Uber drivers, right?
Everybody, okay, so all the writers need to take Ubers at all times. I don't care if you have a car, you got to keep them in business because it's just fair. I mean, there's like a glut of Uber drivers, and they might only need like a percentage of those Uber drivers, but it's your responsibility to pay. So every Uber driver stays employed, including any new one that comes in.
Even if they just burn gas and just drive around the block.
Doesn't matter. You have to pay for it. That's just the right thing to do.
That's what they do in Orlando. They go to the airport and they just like drive.
They actually pick up people.
They do, but I mean, we got to keep them employed. Doesn't matter if they're actually driving people. They got to.
We're not picking on Uber drivers. They brought Uber drivers. I'm just like, it's the same idea.
Anyway, this is David Zaslav. Remember him? David Zaslav? We're assuming the worst from a business perspective. We've got ourselves ready. We've had a lot of content that's already been produced.
So HBO Max has the content. Netflix has the content. I know Disney probably does too.
I'm sure they do.
Because they're not as much as you want to believe, oh, Disney's got our backs. I'm sure they're going to probably fight against this as well. They
went through this before, and I guarantee you, they were like, we need to have a contingency plan in case there's another writer's strike, and they've been grumbling about it for years. Where are the
comments from Disney on the right? Where's Bob Iger's comments on the writer's strike? Yeah, so Iger's not saying jack. Everybody's focused on Netflix and HBO Max, but what about Disney Plus?
Yeah, he's not really saying much. I think he's got other things to deal with.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure he probably will be coerced into making a statement.
Iger's for the minorities, don't you know? Even though the Disney company acts in opposition usually. They're for the people, the little people. You need a white knight for that company, you know, because they're gonna help you out.
Yeah, well, they're targeting their paychecks, so he might have to say.
I hear Jiminy.
Yeah, he might have to say something. Here, but Bob Iger is actually not paid as much as David Zaslav. Endeavors.
Well, he's only there temporarily, though.
Well, that's true. Chapek guy, I know they gave him like $30 million to just go away. Sarandos only gets $38 million only. Rupert Murdoch only gets $31 million. But yeah, so
that's okay. He's got lots of money.
But where were these people when the cast members had to have a literal food pantry?
Again, we talk about it, but no. And they donate money now, and they make sure they put it in the press release now.
Okay. Because I'm like these writers, again, looking, and I'm not talking about the people that are, you know, the interns that aren't getting paid or the unpaid labor. I'm talking about the actual writers.
Staff writers.
The actual staff writers. They actually do get paid pretty damn well. Because the base pay for the union, I looked at the numbers the other day, and I'm like, oh my God, these guys are making pretty significant money, you know. So I don't know.
It's not enough.
It's not enough.
With inflation. Well, I mean, fair, California, it probably is.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean,
location.
Yeah.
That's why you should go to other locations, you know, with movies and TV, and not just base it in L.A.
I mean, my family, my stepdad was making six figures in the mid 90s, and it still were just kind of squeaking by. So, yeah, it's not cheap, right? Anyway, we're going to wrap this up. Good luck with that. There's not going to be any SNL, not that anybody misses it anyway. But you can still tune into YouTube.
And Adam's going to keep ruining everything, so good news.
Yeah, if this blows up, he's the face of it because he's part of the negotiating committee, I guess. So.
I mean, look, I hope they can work something out. People are like, you're just mean.
Oh, piss
Fuck off. Don't care.
Shut up.
We're realistic. And these people are completely fucking out of touch.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, I think that they should be paid fairly for work they do, but I think that they should work something out with the residuals because that is an ongoing issue, and I don't disagree with them on that.
I'll give them that.
I will give them that one too.
I'll give them that one.
But I mean, the demands about the writer's room and the demands about like how long your job should. I'm like, no. See, now you're just taking it too far.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, reviews, and rants, and we'll talk later.
Bye.
Help support the channel. Go to thereef.support and get early access to podcasts, videos, and other content. That's thereef.support.